Hey everybody, it's Tech Talk Thursday. It's the last one of the year. Whoop, whoop. So Neil, I believe we are talking digital literacy today. Is that right?
Yes, we're going to talk about digital literacy, and we'll both share some of the things we've seen and know and used out there that could be helpful to, I guess, primarily help students with their digital literacy, right? Adults. But to be real, there's probably some occasions where staff could probably use a help with some of these things as well. So
Absolutely.
there's a bit of crossover there.
Absolutely.
And so I think, that's where there's value, is just anytime we can continue to be improving our skill sets, there's usefulness in that.
I think it might be a good place to start just to define digital literacy, what it means. Put it in common language. What do you think, or the definition of digital literacy is, Neil?
I think a degree of comfort using the technology that's placed in front of us.
Perfect. I can't improve that at all.
Good. I was going to say, we can kick that around if we want.
No, I love that one.
I think, that's how I look at it. It's are you comfortable? You're provided with a login or needing to create a login. Are you comfortable maneuvering through that? An email address, password. How do I remember that password and store it? And then later on, when I come back, how do I get back in again? What if I've totally blanked and I have no idea what that password was? That's just at a ground level. I think that's one of the things that's really important.
Just simple navigation of a website.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's so much you can miss on a website alone just because you didn't know that you could click that button. Yeah. And boom, all the information that you needed pops up, or you don't even know how to use the search bar on a website.
Yep. Look, I'll cover a couple of those. I'll cover a couple of website things as well when I share, because that's a good point. I've done a few things in a presentation or something like that, and somebody says, stop. What did you just do there? I've never seen that before.
Yes, me and you have done that a lot. I'm like, wait a minute, show me how you did that, Neil.
How do you do that again? So I'll try to remember to do 2 or 3 things that I think are common that people don't necessarily know about. And you might have a few more to throw in on that as well. So, yeah, I mean, that's the key right there. We've got to navigate in a world of technology. So how can we help people do that in a way that is most comfortable and get their skill level up to be able to create accounts, access accounts, know what keys, and you don't have to be able to type. I don't know how to type. I use my computer all day long and I can't type for anything. I'm hunt and peck all over the place, sort of thing. So that's not as vital. It's just knowing about how to navigate, I think.
I think the other component that we have to touch on before we get started with all the resources is digital equity. I know all our programs all across the state struggle with students having access to the internet outside of their organization. So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm loving seeing the fact that communities are taking on that responsibility. I've even seen here in Indiana a couple of communities that have taken on the charge of providing access within their town area to Wi-Fi. So they don't have to be in a certain place, but if they don't have other Wi-Fi, they can access it there. Obviously, round one on that, I would say, is many people on their phone have a degree of connectivity available for their other devices, and meaning that they have a hotspot that they can use on their phone that they may not be aware of and understand it. We had this conversation at my house not long ago, and my mother-in-law, who we have the same you know, we have a phone plan for her, and so she has one of the new iPhones and that sort of thing, talking about hotspots and all that. And she's like, man, I wish I could have that one day. And I'm like, you have it now. It's on your phone. You just got to go here and do this, and then away you go. And that reminded me, not everybody thinks in those terms. So there's that. There's great places, businesses and communities that are open for people to come in and use the internet, get access through that. So they might not have a device other than their phone, but with the Wi-Fi connection, most people can use their phone to do a lot of things these days. And of course, the libraries. I was just down in Bloomington visiting their library here recently, and wow, that's a beautiful one down there. Not everybody has the same as what Bloomington is, but for what is available in your community, I work with some small communities, and the libraries really try to pick up that slack. So there's a few places at least that can be explored.
I'll also throw out that there is a lot coming in 2023 whenever it comes to digital equity. There's some huge grants that are going to be available, and we have our partners as well as us working on making sure that we can get a part of that funding.
Yeah.
But there's something that maybe not everybody knows about, and I'll go ahead and share my screen.
Okay, great. Yeah. You know, one thing while you're sharing that, just one thing I just thought about is I know that there are school districts, colleges, and that in communities who have devices that are no longer being used. They may not be great for some of the educational needs, but they work and still can be accessed, and they're being very good about loaning or even giving some of those away too when it comes to the devices side.
Absolutely. This is the Affordable Connectivity Program. To summarize it in just a few words, your students, you could possibly get a discount on your monthly service if you're eligible. It's a $30 monthly discount on your internet service, and there's lots of stuff coming out on the horizon on that. So,
yeah, and when I look at the list of qualifications real quickly there, you know, if you're getting SNAP, Medicaid, SSI, WIC, et cetera, you know, that's probably a lot of adult ed students.
yes, absolutely.
So they definitely do qualify. So definitely one big initiative that would be really good is for each adult ed program to have some information, flyers and other things available on their campuses to share with students who could benefit from this.
I think this is a top one that we need to make sure is out there. And I have a web page built for IAACE, and this is going to be one of the things that's on it.
Cool.
So you want to go next?
Yeah, very cool. All right, so now I go to, all right, you're going to switch off there. I'm going to switch on over to my screen. All right, so here's some, I've focused a little more around what resources are available for programs to sort of like utilize with their students. So training type things. So here's one, this is digitalskillslibrary.org, right? So I'm putting that into chat, digitalskillslibrary.org. And here, they have a lot of training on a lot of different topics and that sort of thing. So here's one on communication, and they talk about that a little bit, but then they have a whole lot of these different little modules that you can go through, you know, attachments to email, a whole thing on email, creating and sending email. You know, what about attachments? You know, what's the etiquette for that, and safety, and creating an online identity and things like that. And then even looks like a little bit here in French and Spanish as well that they've added into their mix. But they have a lot of topics. If you look through this list here, there's a lot here that programs could jump in on. And some of this even begins to go into the workforce side of things. So, you know, anyway, a lot of resources. won't dive too deep into it, but other than to say there's plenty here that programs can be utilizing. And you can even, there's a great search tool here where they can look for something that maybe they'd want to share, and then find a training on that to put up in a classroom or something like that.
I think we've done a few blogs on that way back when.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great site. Lots
Yeah.
of good information.
Yep. All right, I'll jump in on another one and then I'll throw back to you. So Microsoft has some training as well. Their digital literacy. So here's the info on that. Let me pop that into chat.
I gotcha.
You got it? All right. So they talk about it from a high level. And then I thought this was pretty cool. This is a little different because it's actually done in a bunch of different languages. So I see Arabic, Bulgarian, Chinese, and then they even package it up if you have a learning management system available to you into a SCORM format, if it takes that, and then you can load that into your learning management system. But just looking quickly here, these were the topics that I had found first up here. Working with computers, accessing information online, how to communicate online and everything. And then there's even a teacher resource file. This is downloadable material. So this is not access online. This is stuff you would download and probably show in class, and then using some of the teacher resources and things like that, be able to build some classes around some of this content. So I thought that was interesting, and then of course you could direct students who are struggling with like probably what is about a dozen languages that they have here, to get a little more help, a little more information. But I just thought that was an interesting one as well that's out there that you can download and access, which is a little different than most of these things.
You can always count on Microsoft.
Oh yeah, you know that they gotta share this story because they have so many online tools now.
Absolutely. Well, the one I'm going to show is, I believe that it is utilized a lot. It's the digital literacy assessment from North Star.
Yep.
It has the ability to take an assessment to find out exactly where your student lies. And then it has the build your skills section, as well as the ability to actually become a North Star location. But it's online self-guided assessments, classroom curriculum, everything you need in order to test the digital literacy. I think that's a component that is necessary with any adult learner as you get started, because I know they may think they know a lot more than they do sometimes, and then other times you make the assumption that maybe they know how to utilize a mouse and they don't.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I know there are some states who've adopted this in adult ed, and so they are actually using this on a lot of levels throughout their programs. So I do know that that's certainly a valued resource in the adult ed world. And I like the fact that they can test the literacy, and then also you've got components in there where you can now build the skills as well. It's not just test it, see where you are, but then to sort of have a process to go to the next level.
Yeah, because I just threw that in chat. Now I'm going to get really simple for the next one.
Oh, good.
Super simple. Everyone utilizes Google. And yes, so it's the simple search engine. It's amazing sometimes what Google does with their page, and what they're doing right now is super cool. You may not think that you can click on this nice little graphic, but you can.
Yep.
It brings up a super cute game, and it teaches the ability just to explore your keyboard and know how to move around. This one's teaching arrow keys, as well as obviously some reading, and your space bar, the ability to just move.
Love it.
it has a little storyline, obviously, of the creator.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get to the one part that's okay. So then it allows you to actually start creating as well. And
Nice. So you can build onto the game.
yeah, so you can build on the game, and then it also actually goes even further, and it has little more games, basically more games, and simple little games like this can teach a lot of just the
Yeah.
comfort level with the keyboard, knowing what different different keyboards strokes do and what your space bar does and all of that. So
Yep.
super simple, but
Love it. But a great resource
a great resource.
on
Absolutely.
that side of things. Yeah, I love it. That's very good. All right, throw it back over to me, and I'm going to take another step from that, and I'm going to also share with you a Google screen. Right there it is. But I'm not looking at the Google part of this. I'm going to look at some of the elements that are up here. Now, I'm using Chrome. A lot of people use Chrome. Some people use different ones, but a lot of these elements are just the same as far as that's concerned. So a couple things that are here that you may not know anything about that are another new skill that you can add to the mix here. Number one, this little house right here, this allows you to go home. All right, so if you're on a website and you're like, okay, I want to get back home again, you can just click that and it'll take you right back to the Google homepage. So number one thing there. Number two, many people think you have to type in google.com in order to do a search, but you don't, because I can do a search from right here, digital literacy. Boom. In the search bar, and now it opens up and shows me the search results right there. Saves you a couple extra steps. Now, you're looking at mine and you're probably thinking, wow, this is black, it's got extra information. Don't worry about that. I just don't like the white glaring on my eyes all day, so I switched it over. But it's the same Google, don't worry. So that's another thing. A third thing that I would suggest to you is if you're not making use of your bookmarks bar underneath here, you need to be. And it's really easy, because when you go down here to bookmarks, you can make sure that you're showing your bookmarks bar, because some people are like, I don't have one, but you do have one. You just need to show it. So that's number one. Number two, if you're on a site and you're like, I want to keep this one. I want to put it in my bookmarks bar. Maybe it's your mail. Or Facebook or something like that. Just grab the lock and drag it down into the bookmarks bar. And now you've just created a bookmark for that page. Now, you can also go through and click on the little star and do that, but I like this better because it's cool. And it's easier there. So I'm going to delete that out of there. Another one that's right here for you that you may not know exists is this share this page feature. And so you're on a page and you're like, I want to share this out to people. Well, here's a few different ways you can do that. You can copy the link. You can send this to a connected device. So you might be able to send this to your phone from your computer, which is pretty cool. Here's something people ask about a lot. How do I generate a QR code? Well, if you're on a page, you can use this share button to create a QR code and then download. That's a pretty cool feature that you've got available to you right there. You can cast it to another screen if it's Chromecast compatible. You can save the page, but you can also share it onto social media or to your email real quickly. So that's just a couple of quick things you can do with your browser that a lot of people don't know, that are right there and make life so much easier for you. Oh, one last thing I wanted to do too. Somebody recently told me they didn't know this existed. Let's say you're on a page and the text is really small and you're squinting to try to read it. You can go in to the little three dots up here, click the plus, and make it bigger. So it's as big as you want it to be right there.
Use
And
that
you can
all the
see it.
time.
Ooh, look at that. That'll take forever to scroll through, but so anyway, a couple of ideas there for you on that side. So staying with Google, I wanted to highlight Google's applied digital skills, Google for Education's resources, and that as well. And they've got a lot in here focused on different audiences. But here's what I want to show you. If you click on Browse Lessons, so I did it over here already, and then you click Adult Learners, they have a series of different educational pieces there targeted to adult learners on how to use, many of them are focused on the Google products, but not all, and that sort of thing. So like, here's one about planning an event, right? But it's about how to use Google Calendar and other things, other tools within the suite to do that, which I thought was pretty cool. Then there's things on Google Workspace, Google Docs, Google Drive, Gmail, and other things like that. You need to create some slides. You don't have PowerPoint, but you have Gmail. Well, you can go in here and learn through these Google Slides lessons on exactly what you would want to learn. Looking for something in particular, you can type in over here and find something that fits that tool. Yeah, that's actually how I should have done it there.
I've
Look at that.
taken some of those courses and they're awesome.
Yeah. So that's a couple more from my side that I thought about. You got any more, Jen?
I have one more that I think is worthy of sharing because it's digital literacy, but it teaches you so much more.
Okay.
Whenever it comes to usalearns.org, I'm not
Oh, yeah.
sure that everyone's aware of it. And with the waiting lists that are across the state, especially, there's a lot of ELL that are on that waiting list. So this is just a simple tool that you could provide to them while they're waiting, and it's all free, and it basically teaches them English. So it's simple by just starting, and if they all they need is an email address, and they can get started and learn just simple basic English. And there's also the US citizenship on there as well. So it's a site worthy of the component of English and digital literacy, because you're being digital literate. You're learning digital literacy, obviously using the program, but then you're learning some English along the way.
Oh, yeah, I love it. That's great. Good one there. Yeah.
Let me pop that.
Into chat as well.
Yeah.
Oh, and I got to put the digital skills one. Did you get that in there?
I think I got that one in there for you.
Okay. All right. I got two more that I want to share. And these go back to the teaching side of things. Here's one from links.ed.gov. And these are teaching skills that matter, digital literacy. These are a series of PDFs with lessons and information that's could be valuable in bringing digital skills training into your classrooms, into your programs and that sort of thing. There's a lot in here. I just pulled this particular one, but there's a ton on there. Teaching skills that matter section, and quite frankly, just there's a lot in here, period, in the link side. So this is a really good one to jump in on. And then the last one that I've got here, it might be a little hard to find. I don't know exactly how we'll get you linked to it, but we will. It is a initiative from the Barbara Bush Foundation for Family Literacy. And it's a PDF called Promoting Digital Literacy for Adult Learners, a resource guide. Now, it looks like it was done in April, so it's fairly recent here. And in this is a ton of resources. It is 80 pages. And there's some collaboration in there with Literacy Minnesota and North Star Digital Literacy as well. But they've gone through and they've They've got sections on understanding the adult learner. They've got sections on defining what digital literacy is, preparing to teach it, the strategies for building digital literacy for the whole learner, and then a bunch of resources and an appendix in there as well. And so it's a really cool document. This could be a PD experience, I felt, for staff, because the way this builds out, there's a lot of great information. And then they have these sections where it's called pause and reflect. You know, was there something in this section that surprised you about adult learners? And then some things to do and identify areas that you would like to learn more about, you know, and in that process, be able to really get everything pulled together. So I thought that was a really cool resource. And I think I'm going to try to upload it into chat so it can be accessible. And I couldn't find this on the website. I know it is, but I couldn't find the website for it. I found it when I was doing a Google search, and it links straight to the document. So that was something that was a little different, but I just thought there was a ton of good resources, well put together, and could be a really good professional development experience for a program to go through to really get themselves well set up to get their students digitally literate. So that's what I got.
I just got that stored in my Google Drive, and I'm going to be able to share the link to it.
You found, look who already
look
has
at
it
that,
and
Gabby.
has it printed on her desk. That's very good.
Awesome.
How did you find it?
Yeah, tell us more.
I think it came through Adult Ed, and
Okay.
I don't know who sent it, but they made it sound very important, so I made a copy of it.
Very good, yes. And it's a pretty cool resource. Have you had a chance to sort of work through any of it, look at any of it yet?
No.
You
That's
step
the other
number
part.
one. You-
I start breaking out with highs when it comes to
I know,
digital
I
literacy.
know.
That's the other part of digital literacy, is finding the time. And it's such a simple piece of advice, but we talk all the time, Neil, how you got to keep it simple. So if you need to work on digital literacy, or if whatever it is, find or pick how much time you can devote to it, whether it be in a day or in a week. Put it on your calendar that that's what you're doing, and then shut everything off. And for that 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it is for you, then that's what you do. You have to build the time in order to keep improving. And honestly, all of us can improve and learn something new whenever it comes to digital literacy and technology. I know I personally learn something every day, and I certainly always learn something whenever I'm with Neil.
Well, you know, I'm always learning stuff and looking for stuff and seeing new stuff as well. And it's funny, I did a call this morning with a program, and we were talking about change and improvement and things like that. And I said, you know, pretty much adult ed staff and administrator are in two camps, with the majority in the slow to move towards change and technology and all that. But there's always a few who are like ready to adopt it immediately with all of that. And so it's about corralling everybody into a middle ground with all of that, because the few that love technology can run a little far ahead sometimes. I'm the sort of person that the moment I get notified that there's an update to my operating system, I install it. There's no waiting on that. And that's your first test right there about your digital literacy aptitude, is how does that make you feel? And if you're getting hives, we recommend seeking medical advice.
Absolutely. I like to be able to know right then.
I think mine's, instead of medical, I think mine's more therapeutic. I think it's more of a therapy than it is.
So we suggest a good therapeutic couch and advisor to get. And that's a good point, because it is a mental thing. I mean, I'm not a young whippersnapper. You know, I'm 55. I grew up without technology. In fact, compared to most people probably growing up in Indiana in the 60s, I was in the outback. No electricity. Toilet was way out in the backyard. And all of the conveniences of life now were not a part of my childhood growing up. Water came when it rained, things like that. And so I've made a long journey from those days, the first 10 years of my life where technology didn't even exist, to where we are today. So, that can happen, but I realize that it's a different journey for everybody.
You came a long way, baby.
I've come a long way, more than one long way, distance and from all of that. I tell you what, it was pretty scary at night when you were a little kid. There was no lights or anything on, and you had to go all the way out in the backyard to go to the toilet. That was not fun. Middle of the night in Australia, but it's all good.
That's crazy. Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Well, Kathy, we'd love to hear if you have something that you guys utilize, and if there's anything that you want to share.
Well, I went to this because I needed it. And every time I go to something like this, I get overwhelmed. But the lock that you showed about dragged down to the bar, my admin assistant, she's real savvy. She's very good, but she doesn't know how to do that. She's going to love that one. You're going to be high on her list for that.
Good.
And increase the font, those kinds of things. Yeah, yeah. And of course,
some of these little things are right there, but nobody gave an instruction manual for how to use Google.
Right. I've heard of North Star and the USA Learns. That's going to be great for our ELL because we use Burlington English. And of course, that's, expensive. And the affordable connectivity and for our students who maybe can use that, that's going to be helpful too.
Yeah. I that's a new one for me that I love. And I just found something. I'll put that in chat too. This is an article by Google on how to use Chrome, the browser, and get it and know all the features and set it up and that sort of thing. It just occurred to me, I've never really ever thought about this, but if people knew all the features they had available to them in a browser, they would probably use a lot more of them, because just simply storing, when I find something good, where do I keep it? Maybe I'll share one more thing. I know we're not getting off track, but
No.
This I was approached with this one. I was keeping them in my bookmarks, which is good. I'm not saying bookmarks is bad, but bookmarks are limited in terms of structure, and you have to create a structure, or else it's like putting every piece of mail in one box.
I have mine in folders depending on what they fit into.
Yes, so let me share with you the tool I use, it might be helpful. I don't know. Let me see here. All right, there it is. It's called Pocket, and it's perfect for some people's budget because it's free. At least the way I use it, it's free, so it works pretty good in that regard. Getpocket.com, and basically, whenever you're going through the internet and you find something that you are interested in, and by the way, this can be done on a computer or on your phone, so it doesn't have to be specific to a device. You install a little extra up here in an little add-on extension in your Chrome browser, and then you can add it to Pocket. And I'm not logged in at the moment here on mine, but if I was logged in, it would instantly add that to it. And along the way, I can tag it with a couple tags. So if I'm ever looking later and I want to go back and find something, I can find it really easily. So I use this for a lot of my stuff that I try to save, and it just has saved me a whole ton of time to put it all in there organize it, be able to find stuff, and then be able to utilize that when I need it. And that's the key, is because I got a feeling we all run across good stuff when we're like looking at things online, or an email comes in with a great link or something like that, and then we don't know where to put it. So my theory is a little different than folders, because what I'm thinking of is, how can I file this, but put some keywords on it so that when I'm looking, I'll know, I won't have to go looking through folders. I just got to put those keywords in. So I might file some things under digital literacy. So if I'm looking for the thing I saw on digital literacy, I can type that in and I can find that quick and easy. So that might be another resource that's helpful, just to store some of these things that we discover and find out there.
That makes me think of Linktree.
Yes, yes.
I love Linktree because one thing that I utilize it for is whenever I'm presenting, if I'm giving the session a whole bunch of links, then I provide them a Linktree that has all the links that they need. And I also use it for the board currently, where it's all the links that they need for their binder. So if they, they go to the Linktree, it has their entire binder on there, and it's so helpful to be able to just put all the links that you want in one place and be able to share them really easily as well.
So adult ed program could use that to put all their links to, like, if they use Burlington or registration form or whatever, they could put all those onto a Linktree and then post that as a place for students to go to get what they need.
And just this kind of is shows you what it looks like on a phone, which, whenever it comes to digital literacy and the devices, more people have smartphones than they do tablets or laptops or computers. Definitely. So it shows you what it looks like and allows you to share it really easily.
Nice. That's good. Well, we've certainly dug up a plethora of things here in a variety of categories today, as we often do. And I think, we're going to spend some time brainstorming a little bit more on this, but looking at this topic a little bit more into the future, and trying to work out what can we provide that builds digital literacy here in Indiana for adult ed programs and their students, and that as we get into the upcoming year.
And I've got some great news for everyone. The whole month of December our theme is the gift of digital literacy. It's all about the gift of technology, everything tech, everything digital literacy, equity. We're going to celebrate it all month long because everybody else celebrates Christmas. Why shouldn't we celebrate something different? And Hippo agrees.
Yep, I love it. Very good. So hopefully some of these have been helpful. And as always, we love people's input into the things that they're discovering and using out there as well, so that we can add to the list, so to speak. Okay.
Anything else you want to add, Kathy, or any questions or anything that we need to make clearer?
Nope, I'm good.
You're awesome. Well, I guess that concludes December's Tech Talk, the last one for 2023. You never know how it might change in 2023. I meant 2020, last one in 2022.
It gets confusing now.
It does get confusing, especially at the end of the year. Any closing remarks, Neil?
No, just have a good holidays, and look forward to seeing you again in 2023.
Ta-ta for now.